It's oftentimes hard to get kids to eat vegetables, but I can honestly say that my oldest Asher has been eating salad since he was about 2 years old. Now, he doesn't eat a ton of other vegetables, but this one he eats, and I think it's because of my basil-thyme vinaigrette. It's very simple to make with just a few simple ingredients, and I'm going to show you how. So the first thing to start with is some Dijon mustard. This is just going to help emulsify the dressing, which makes it nice and creamy. It also gives it a great flavor. And then I add a bit of honey. Now, if you are doing no added sweeteners, you can definitely make it without it. But if you're serving this to kids, I'm assuming that's probably what makes it somewhat appealing. And we've got balsamic vinaigrette. You can use whatever vinegar you'd like. Okay, and then we've got our garlic and our herbs. Just give it a rough chop. Now, if you're doing this in the blender, then you don't really even have to chop it at all. Blender will do all that work for you. And then I have a couple sprigs of thyme. Thyme leaves are already pretty small, so you don't really need to chop them much, but just a little quick chop is good. Okay, and got a few cloves of garlic. All right. And before we add those to the bowl, we're just going to add in our oil. So this is the only tricky part about making a vinaigrette, is that you have to pour the olive oil in pretty slowly, and you have to be whisking constantly for it to emulsify, thicken, get nice and creamy. So we're just going to start with the olive oil and just do a few drops at a time, whisking constantly. And then once your vinaigrette starts to thicken up a little bit, you can kind of start going in more of a slow, steady stream with that olive oil. And you just want to keep whisking constantly. And that process is just what helps the oil stay incorporated with the vinegar. By nature, they actually want to separate. So you have to just keep the whisking going for it to stay combined, not have that oil floating on top. Okay, so there is our lovely vinaigrette, and now we're just going to add all of those herbs and that garlic right into the bowl. Give that another whisk. And that is it. Now you have dressing that you can take with you to restaurants if you're going to eat out, or serve to your kids throughout the week. And here's how I store it, because as you do refrigerate it, it will start to separate. And so what I like to do is I put it into a jar with one of these. If you used to drink protein shakes, you probably have seen this. It's just a blender bottle ball, and it helps to keep the dressing emulsified. You just give it a good shake and it whisks it right back up in the jar. It's just one of my little tricks that I've used over the years so that I don't have to re-whisk the dressing when we're ready to eat it. I'll just pour that right in. Okay, so that is super simple. I promise you your kids are gonna love it, you'll love it. And it just takes a couple minutes to make. Just make it at the beginning of the week and keep it in your fridge all week long.